What's going on? Welcome back, Danksters and Dankettes. We are trending right now on X. We have broken open the seal of all these flippity floppity seals out here acting like they are something special. Calling Tucker a foreign agent, or he's working for Qatar, he's taking money from this and that with no proof, mind you. When they get exposed, I guess we'll see how it plays out, because this is just breaking news that Salem Media Group has been exposed by your boy Danks, by the big teddy bear right here, Christ-loving individual that, so I'll just read the post, to be honest. But you can go on X trending. Probably, I don't know if I'm not too familiar with how trending works, but if here, I'll show my screen right here. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the chat. Become a member for 99 cents and become a part of the Dankster intelligence apparatus. If you want to learn a thing or two with your boy, let me fix my camera. Yesterday, it got all cut off and stuff. So, we will get that going. Let's see. Why is this all messed up? Maybe because I'm zoomed in. Let me see. Put a 1 in the chat if you've seen the post on X. Let me know in the chat. If not, we're going to have to showboat, showcase, discuss, tell you the story behind, so that these people that don't understand or that don't know, I can fill them in. Hit a like, hit a subscribe on your way into the building. Share this, because you're going to want to share this with people that matter, people that you think need to see the truth. I'm just making a few adjustments. I've been super busy, haven't had a chance to get everything in line for the stream, so I'm kind of running behind here. But here, let's get this set up. Let's do it like this. Boom. There we go. And I think we'll just save that, remove. All right, cool. So I think we're ready to go. If you haven't been here before, I am Danks. I am the Dankster intelligence system. I work with a group of researchers, and we basically find shit. People don't like it, but we find it. The thing is this, bro, is that we're tired of Americans being deceived. We're tired of people like Bradley Parscale getting away while making millions of dollars, starting foreign businesses on behalf of a foreign agent like Israel, and then manipulating our AI algorithms while geofencing, using geofenced technology. It's just, I think we're done with it, man. To be honest, I think we're done with the bullshit. I think we're done being lied to. I think that it's important that truth comes out more than any time in the world. In the history of America, Americans need truth. And then the likes of Dinesh D'Souza come out and say, oh, I left Salem Media. Bro, please. And then you didn't tell anybody? You just silently left? Like, that's a good excuse? Oh, I'm gone, so take me off your post? No, man. No. You guys have no ethicus, like no ethical morality. You have nothing for Americans, bro. Why do you think all of your ratings are tanking? People like me, who had no following a month ago, just because I talk truth and I show the receipts, I grow. You know what I mean? That's it. I'm on behalf of our country. But when you're working on behalf of somebody else, whether you know it or not, this is a spiritual battle. We've all said it. I'm sure you guys have said it. Anybody that I mentioned in my post, which we're going to go through right now. This is a spiritual battle. So if you're around negative spiritual beings that are trying to destroy your country, then you are, by proxy, going to feed into that energy, and it's going to take you down with it. So Americans need all of this to be laid out, explained. Okay, that's why I'm here, and that's what I'm going to continue doing. So make sure you share this with the people that matter, like I said, and I'll show you the trending post right now. Let's see. So, I mean, It's number one on this side here for me. It's probably because it's my post. I don't know, but you can see right here. So basically, we'll go through a couple of the things, the post itself. So yeah, Bradley Parscale. This is the trending headline. Bradley Parscale's Clock Tower X LLC. If you've been following this channel, if you've been following my work, you know I've talked a lot about Bradley Parscale, a lot about Clock Tower X LLC, the history behind it as well. My opinion, they were paid nearly $1 million by America's Turning Point from Turning Point USA, and then they just vanished, disappeared. And then later a Clock Tower X LLC with a different principal, because the principal behind the first one was hidden behind the registered agent's family member. This one has Bradley on the principal, and he's a registered foreign agent. Not only that, I'll just read the headline. Bradley Parscale, Chief Strategy Officer of Salem Media Group. Okay. Salem Media Group is the registered principal of Clock Tower X LLC under FARA registration number 7649 with the U.S. Department of Justice. The company holds a $9 million contract funded by the Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Clock Tower Havas Media Group Germany to integrate through Havas Media Group Germany to integrate Israeli government messaging into Salem Media Network properties. This is a major issue. Okay, it's a major issue. So let's go to the first one, the first post I made. We're going to go and look at some of the comments after. Well, yeah, we'll look at some of the comments. So first, though, we'll go to the main post. We're creeping up on 500,000 views. Did you know? So this is the efforts of my research, and I just happened to be on my own site. I'll show you my site for a second, americansfortransparency.org. And I was talking to Agent America, and I was going back and forth, and I realized something I just didn't piece together before. Yeah, people just found this out. Isn't that funny? Shout out to the new members. We got some new members in the house. Death Queef, good to see you again. Shauna and Kathy, make sure you're here on Fridays for our members only live streams, 10 a.m. PST. So I was talking to Agent America on my website, americansfortransparency.org. And also, if you haven't followed my other account, it's x.com/@/AFNPT.org, Americans for Nonprofit Transparency organization. No more foreign agents. That is literally the slogan. No more foreign agents. All right, give it a follow. But yeah, this is the account. So americansfortransparency.org, right? So they're part of this whole operation, the geofencing stuff, Brad Parscale. We're going to go through all of that today. But we have a lot of stuff on here. Clock Tower investigation. This is kind of where I got my information from. Not where I got my information from. I created the information off of FARA public documentation and records. And I had to build a website to get all the information out. But essentially, let's get back to the post. So did you know that the Charlie Kirk Show, Josh Hammer, Dennis Prager, Laura Trump, Larry Elder, Hugh Hewitt, Dinesh D'Souza, Sebastian Gorka, and Brandon Tatum, and Todd Starnes, all broadcast on a network whose chief strategy officer is a federally registered foreign agent for the Israeli government? It's not an allegation. It's not a theory. This is FARA registration number 7649, filed with the Department of Justice. Public record. Go look. FARA.gov. I think it's fara.justice.gov. I don't know. You can go to my site and check it out. Or it's americansfortransparency.org. I'll put a banner up. Let's see here. Americans. Let's go to americansfortransparency.org. And you can also get there by going to afnpt.org. All right. I'll just put a banner up for a second. So those are they go to the same place. And there's so much information on there, you guys. You need to do yourself justice. Go to the website, view it, understand it, because these are foreign actors that create LLCs inside the United States, nonprofits, for-profit, whatever. They take money from the, I don't know how I'm going to get through this. There's so much to talk about. They take money. Okay, this is the whole system. All right. So it starts with the Israel Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Okay. The money comes from there and it goes to these intermediaries. All right. They fund it. And then the funding goes out to these groups. Clock Tower LLC is one of them. They take $9 million. And their responsibility is anti-Semitism campaigns, AI, SEO manipulation, evangelical targeting per FARA filing. And then if we go to their documents, you can see all the FARA filing documents they have. It's just a doom scroll worth of information, materials, registration information. If we go to the actual FARA document, you can see Brad Parscale, Clock Tower X LLC, right here, Clock Tower X. This is U.S. Department of Justice registration statement. Single member LLC, Bradley Parscale. Of course, it's in Ohio. And describe the nature of the registrant's regular business and activity. Clock Tower X LLC is engaged in creative strategy and media production, including the development of digital content, messaging campaigns, and related distribution services for political, cultural, and commercial initiatives. Clock Tower X LLC is a privately held limited liability company wholly owned and controlled by Bradley Parscale, who serves as its managing partner member. All right, let's go back to the post. So this is what they really don't want you connecting. Good thing your boy lives in deep research. So here's the part they pray you never piece together. Brad Parscale holds two titles simultaneously. Title 1, Chief Strategy Officer of Salem Media Group. Let's look at what a chief strategy officer job description. A high-level executive responsible for developing, communicating, and executing a company's long-term strategic initiatives to drive financial growth. Acting as a CEO's strategic right hand, they bridge the gap between high-level vision and daily operational execution. Core responsibilities, strategic formula. Collaborate with the CEO and board of directors to define the company's vision and long-term goals. Like this one right here is the first one. If you have a registered foreign agent receiving money from Israel to basically give you propaganda, there's many ways. If you go on my channel or in my feed on X or wherever, you can see I talk all kinds about the geofencing, the surveillance, the FARA documented organizations that are operating in this vector that are changing the AI algorithm. All right. We've seen the video with InfoLib News showing the head of the ADL talking about ChatGPT is ground truth. They have engineers, developers that are able to do fantastic things. Well, those fantastic things are being able to build websites that have specific information. So if you go into a geofence location, that is basically going to go onto your phone once you get into that location and go into your AI, all right, by using a generative engine optimization, which is a much more strategic version because AI likes to take full information so it can regurgitate it into your output. So they build all of these back page websites with metadata, and sometimes you can't even view the websites. But in the filings, they have their website information. I have a whole bunch of files on all this stuff. But they create websites to feed you specific propaganda. So if you search for something and you've gone within their targeted locations, which there are 303 mega churches that they work in tandem with Show Faith by Works. Show Faith by Works faced a lot of lashback for this. Basically, these mega churches, sometimes like the pastors don't even know. So they'll use like AI to work out something for their sermon. And then the whole time, like I have do I want to go that far yet? I haven't even got through the post. I do want to explain it. So let me pull open my video. Give me 1 second. Let me pull open my video because we might have to actually talk about this. I wasn't expecting to. But after I get through this post, I want to show you really how this stuff works. I explained it a lot better just in the video itself. I have it right here. So let's see. It is right here. $150 million in foreign money. Since we're talking about it, let's just go ahead and play it. Can we get there? The AI tools you use every day, they're being trained on surveillance data to manipulate what you see, what you think, what you read. And I'm going to show you exactly how that works. Remember what I said? Let's go back. On the anti-Semitism campaigns, AI and SEO manipulation. All right, that's what they do. Targeting evangelicals. All right, let's keep going. So I need you to follow me all the way through this video. Not just this video, but literally everything that's going to be coming, because what I've uncovered and what I am going to uncover is a coordinated surveillance and manipulation operation targeting Americans, American Christians, and all kinds of citizens of the United States, funded by foreign governments, deployed by organizations and churches that you thought you trust. I have evidence of all of it. I have whistleblowers. Let me skip to maybe that actually shows it. So here shows the way millions of devices, not just this one church, but it's happening all over California and other states as well. So this diagram right here shows the way a geofence works, right? It'll sit around an entire parcel, a parking lot, for example, the lawn, everything, and another around just the buildings, sanctuaries, classrooms, the bathrooms, everything within this location. Every person who walks through that invisible wall has their phone literally tracked without their knowledge or their consent. Now, this has been happening for data and the ability to sell advertisers data, but now they're using this to manipulate the way you think about the world around you. The technology I need you to understand is not about any particular church. This is just a way for them to get to millions of people. This is actually about the technology they're using to deploy this. And it's a methodology being deployed nationwide against mostly religious communities. Once you understand the full scope of this, the surveillance system itself, you'll realize that there's really nobody that's safe. Even me, I don't go very many places, and I am concerned about being geo-tracked, geo-fenced, hopped, whatever you want to call it. This isn't just geofencing, okay? It's not just that. Everyone says, oh, I know what geofencing is. I've heard of that. No, you don't understand. I put a poll in the chat. Did you know a foreign agent was operating Salem Media News, broadcasting group or whatever? It's important that you understand this. They're integrating in all of the media apparatuses. We're going to talk a lot about it today. I want to give you some groundwork on how this stuff operates so you understand. Yeah, you'll think about going to church differently, I think. Understand how serious this actually is, because they're doing something way more invasive, and it's called GEO technology, and it combines geofencing with Bluetooth proximity tracking and Wi-Fi fingerprinting to create the most sophisticated civilian surveillance system that's ever been deployed. And do me a favor, like, subscribe if you haven't already. Please share this. We need to get this out and share it with people that matter. Well, everyone matters. Americans matter. Thing is, we are literally being targeted. You need to understand that. Like we are being targeted. Hey, that's you know what I'm saying? Hit the like button. Hit the like button. I'm playing the same song that Mr. Lego I made one just like this.
If you tune in, you're part of the Scooby Gang.
Hit that like
Everybody
button.
hit the like button right now. Hey. Everybody hit the like button. Everybody hit the like button. What? Drop your city in the chat. Don't be acting afraid.
Let's go.
Hit the like button. Let the system get played. Hey.
All right, let's go. In the history of technology. So here's how they track everyone. They draw an invisible digital fence around perhaps a church or a location that they want to target, and they use GPS coordinates of that location. When your phone crosses that boundary, they capture your unique device ID, your exact GPS location, your Wi-Fi MAC address, your Bluetooth identifier, and the timestamp of every single moment you're within that location. You think you're just going to church, but they're logging you into a surveillance database while you're there. And this is where it gets truly insidious, is that while you're sitting there in that pew praying, for example, your phone is constantly pinging to every other phone around you via Bluetooth. It's an invisible, automatic, can't stop it system until your phone is completely shut off. And basically it's your phone pinging out to other phones around. Right. I just want to give you an idea. So now you know what we're working with. Let's go back to the post and continue. So, again, Bradley Parscale, Chief Strategy Officer of Salem Media Group, the largest Christian conservative radio network in America. Title II, Principal, Clock Tower X LLC, registered foreign agent. I just showed you the registration. I'll show you again in a second. They've taken a $6 million contract with the Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs via Havas Media Group. All right, this is how it works. Remember, I showed you. Look. Havas Media Group, right here, Clock Tower LLC. All right, the money comes straight from here. Okay, what do they do? All of this. Okay, let's go back. So, well, actually, it's 9 million now. That's right. So they grabbed another 3 million post filing. The FARA filing states that the Israeli government messaging gets integrated into Salem Media Network properties. But Salem never appears as a disclosed vendor anywhere in the registration. That gap has a legal name. It's 22 USC 614B. That's not an opinion. That is a statute. All right. So these are laws built around FARA, and they need to be abided by, because when you have a foreign agent operating in our country, this is, you have to disclose everything. That's what FARA is for. However, Pam Bondi dissolved the Foreign Malign Influence Center at the Department of Justice. So there's nobody left to enforce it. So are they going to continue filing foreign agent registrations? I don't know. It's still a law that they have to, but there's no one there to oversee it. That's the issue. Very convenient for them. Let me ask you a question. Why would the Department of Justice, the person, Pam Bondi, who's in control of making sure that Americans are safe? I mean, we could look up Pam Bondi's job title and see what her responsibilities are. What is Pam Bondi's job? Let's take a look. All right, so she is the 87th United States Attorney General. So, job description. Let's see what it has to say. So the United States Attorney General is the chief law enforcement officer of the federal government and the head of the DOJ. Established by the Judiciary Act of 1789, the role has evolved from a part-time position into a massive administration and legal leadership role, overseeing more than 115,000 employees. The primary duties of the Attorney General, as outlined from the DOJ's functions manual, include legal representation, representing the United States in legal matters, advisory role, serving as a principal legal advisory to the president and the heads of executive departments, directing the administration and operations of the 40-plus components of the DOJ, policy and enforcement, setting enforcement priorities for federal laws, and overseeing the work of 93 U.S. attorneys, and making recommendations to the president regarding appointments for federal judicial positions. All right, so I would like to know, is it in the best interest. Okay, here, let's do this. Would this position be required to defend the safety and best interests of the American people when it comes to propaganda being conveyed from foreign countries? For example, if a FARA-registered company is giving information to Americans, would it be a requirement for Pam Bondi to make sure we are safe and also protected and notified, and why? Yes, as of March 2026, Pam Bondi is legally responsible for administering the Foreign Agents Registration Act, which is the primary tool used to protect the American people from undisclosed foreign propaganda. While the position is required to enforce these laws, the method of enforcement is a matter of policy that can change between administrations. Is there a requirement to defend and notify? The Attorney General has specific statutory duties regarding foreign influence, mandatory disclosure. The law requires the Attorney General to ensure that foreign agents conspicuously label information, materials, propaganda transmitted in the U.S. so the public knows the source. Public notification. The AG is required by law to maintain a public database of all foreign agents and their clients and the materials they distribute. This is intended to let Americans evaluate the statements and activities of such persons in light of their functions as foreign agents. Pam Bondi's current policy. While the legal requirement to manage FARA remains, AG Bondi issued a directive on February 5th, 2025 that shifted how the DOJ handles these cases. Bondi directed the DOJ to prioritize civil enforcement, like seeking court orders to stop someone from acting as an agent, and public guidance, rather than criminal prosecution for most FARA violations. Focus on espionage. Criminal charges for FARA are now primarily reserved for cases involving conduct similar to more traditional espionage by foreign agents and governments. Disbanded task force. She disbanded the Foreign Influence Task Force, which was originally created to counter election interference and malign foreign influence operations. Why would they do that? Why would Pam Bondi do that? Do these things that actually dismantle the oversight committee, the oversight of FARA, and make it weaker rather than stronger? Could there be malicious intent somewhere? Let's see if Google will give us anything. Preventing weaponization. AG Bondi stated that disbanding the Foreign Influence Task Force would end risks of further weaponization and abuses of prosecutorial discretion. Limiting criminal overreach. The Bondi memo restricts criminal FARA charges to cases involving more traditional espionage, returning to pre-Mueller standards. So this is this stuff is from 1938. So essentially, they are turning it from federal or from serious crimes to just civil crimes, like civil court. Why would the person in charge of keeping us safe and defending our country and our citizens take away the requirement to have significant oversight when it comes to this stuff? So anyways, pretty convenient for a lot of people in companies and not very convenient for us as Americans. So the next time the Charlie Kirk Show tells you what to think about Israel, the next time Josh Hammer frames the Iran war narrative, the next time Dennis Prager explains Judeo-Christian values, ask yourself who wrote the script, because FARA 7649 tells you exactly who. And the $729 million Israeli Hasbara budget approved for 2026 tells you how much they're spending to make sure you never ask. And again, I have the post here. All right. And then what did Gen X girls say? Yep, Salem Media Group. The affiliation goes beyond Brad Parscale to 3 other fara registered agents. Yes, I am very familiar. Let's see what she put here. Yeah, Yuri Steinberg, Yair Levy, Chad Schnitzker, which are all on the site. Yep, absolutely. What is this? Israel's 8th Front War spent $56 million, budget $190 million. Havas Media Network. SKDK, Clock Tower, Bridges Partners, Show Faith by Works, Google. And then if you look here, you've got Brad Parscale, Jill Zuckman, Yuri Steinberg, and they're all on here. You can see I actually have all of them. There's a bunch more companies. We could just probably take a screenshot here and just post it for her. It's even worse than that, girl. Let's see. Where are we at? What's going on? Oh, yeah, they want to freeze me up. You want to freeze me up? Let's see. It's worse than even that. Oh. All right. So this is the post that's been getting a lot of attention, as you could imagine, because essentially what it does is, and we'll cover it right now. What it does is this. Let me get this straight. Josh Hammer called Tucker Carlson a useful idiot for foreign governments. Sebastian Gorka questioned Tucker's patriotism on national radio. Dennis Prager lectured America about our values while implying Tucker had abandoned them. How crazy do they think we are? They think we're stupid. The entire Salem media ecosystem spent months framing Tucker Carlson as compromised by foreign influence. Funny, because every single one of them broadcasts on Salem Media Group. And Salem Media Group's chief strategy officer is Brad Parscale. And Brad Parscale is the registered principal of Clock Tower X LLC. And Clock Tower X LLC is a federally registered foreign agent for the state of Israel. FARA registration 7649, filed with the US DOJ, $9 million contract funded by the Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs through the Havas Media Group. The filing state that Israeli government messaging gets integrated into Salem Media Network properties. So let me make sure I understand the logic here. Tucker Carlson interviews someone the establishment doesn't like, and he's a traitor. But Josh Hammer, Gorka, Prager, Laura Trump, Larry Elder, Hugh Hewitt, Dinesh D'Souza, Brandon, Officer Tatum, and Todd Starnes can broadcast daily on a network whose chief strategy officer is literally registered with the Department of Justice as a foreign agent for a foreign government, and nobody's supposed to notice that. The people screaming foreign influence are the foreign influence. That's not irony. That is an operation. The accusation is the cover. They call Tucker compromised. So you never think to check who's compromising them. And the best part, you don't have to take my word for it. You can go to the freaking website. They turn on any Salem media broadcast and ask yourself this when you do that. Who wrote the script? Let's keep going. Brad Parscale, he was working for Donald Trump as a campaign manager. All right. And that was in 2020. Actually, I can show you that. Just so you know, it's from Axios right here. Former Trump campaign manager registers to advocate for Israel. Yeah. Oh, I thought you might want to know. This is kind of interesting. So Tallahassee, Brad. So this was 2020. And hey, look, I have had DUIs. I've been, I used to be in a bad shape. I used to be in bad shape. I was not a healthy person. Let's just put it that way. So, but this right here, let's just read it. Bradley Parscale, a senior advisor to President Donald Trump's re-election campaign, reportedly hit his wife and had 10 guns in his home, which are fine. I'm cool with guns. But they were seized by Florida police, who responded to his house after a report of attempted self-86ing, according to the police reports released Monday. Fort Lauderdale Police Department also released body cam footage from the Sunday incident. Candice Parscale initially heard what she thought was a gunshot and was afraid her husband had shot himself. She later concluded he had not, because she continued to hear him ranting and pacing around the house. The footage showed Parscale wearing only a pair of shorts and holding what appeared to be a beer, being thrown to the ground by police after he agreed to come outside without a firearm. Before being tackled, Parscale could be heard telling an officer that she started saying all this shit. Oh, she started saying a bunch of shit to you, bro. That's so sad. As they place handcuffs on him, he says repeatedly, "I didn't do anything." Authorities were called after Candice Parscale fled the house following a verbal altercation with her husband. She told police and also 6'8", that's a pretty big dude. So I could imagine if he is being threatening, unless she's 6'8", it's intimidating at the least. So she told police Brad Parscale had been under stress over the past 2 weeks, and she was talking about doing that to himself with his firearm. Parscale drinks and suffers from PTSD, she told police. Officers said later that Parscale appeared to be intoxicated. I have no problem with intoxication. I have no problem with guns, whatever. But I do have a problem with someone beating women. Is that what happened here? So let me make sure. Reportedly hit his wife. She said this, right? She told police had been under stress. Officers said later that Parscale appeared to be intoxicated. Police on Sunday committed. So he was committed to hospital under Florida's Baker Act, which allows people to be detained and evaluated. They're themed to be. So he was 5150. So he's 5150. So they held him against his will, probably. He's not in jail. I don't know why he wasn't in jail for that. Whatever. I don't know what else happened. I didn't go too deeply into it, but I will. Stephen Smith, a SWAT team member who responded to the residents, said in his report that when I asked how she received their bruising, Candice Parscale stated Brad Parscale hits her. Hits. Wasn't just a one-time thing either. Hits. When asked if he made these markings today, she claimed he did not. I continued to ask if Brad Parscale physically assaulted her in any way today, and she said no, but he did forcibly smack her phone out of her hand when she was attempting to call Brad Parscale's father. Bro, she's just looking out for you. That's the type of guy you are, bro. You know what happens when you don't have Christ in your life, right? This is what happens. This is what happens, man, when you sell your country out, or are you an American? Is Bradley Parscale American? Oh, you are really American, bro. You're from Kansas, dog. Kansas-born businessman, a website developer best known for serving as the digital director for Donald Trump. I'd love to see your websites. If you need someone who's actually really good, no, I would never work for you, bro. You can't afford me, dog. So you're American. And you are a foreign agent for Israel. And you have the likes of Officer Tatum. So let's look who broadcasts on Salem Media Group. see if we can get an AI thing over here. So what's funny is Salem Media Group is a Christian conservative broadcasting network. It says right here, Salem Media broadcasts a wide range of Christian teaching and conservative talk programming across its national radio networks, television channel, and broadcasting podcast platform. As of early 2026, the primary host and programs on the Salem Media Network and Salem News Channel, you've got Hugh Hewitt, Mike Gallagher, Dennis Prager, Larry Elder, Sebastian Gorka. We'll show you all these people in a second. Charlie Kirk Show, Laura Trump, Dinesh D'Souza, which I'll show you his post. He says he left the network recently. Brandon Tatum, Stacey Washington. You know what's interesting about Brandon Tatum? Oh man, there's so much to talk about today. I'm like all over the place, just trying to keep it streamlined. We got all these new members. What's up? What's up, the reals? Measured Man, say thanks, bro. Thanks, Measured Man. Thanks for the memberships. Lori, welcome. Look, this person who is beating his wife, allegedly, well, she said it, and I'm just reading it from Politico, is a registered foreign agent, a Kansas American citizen, and he is the chief strategy officer for Salem Media Group. A lot of conservative talking heads are like, the reason why this is a problem is because in the filing, in the FARA filing, they are integrating their networks that they work with this propaganda output. Okay. So the filing really states that the contract will provide strategic communications, planning, and media services to develop and execute a nationwide campaign in the United States. So at least 80% of the content is tailored to Gen Z audiences on TikTok. Not just TikTok. You've got Instagram, YouTube, podcasts. Campaign is to achieve at least 50 million digital impressions every single month. That's the requirement. It builds websites, content designed to influence how ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok all respond to prompts about Israel and Gaza. And it will integrate if it hasn't already, its narrative messaging into Salem Media Network properties. It is my opinion that is why Bradley Parscale is working as the CSO for Salem Media Group. All right. The same people who spent months calling Tucker compromised by foreign governments are themselves compromised by a foreign government on the network that they are working out of. I need you to let that sit, bro. Like, understand what that means. The people who called Tucker a traitor broadcast daily on a network whose CSO is a federally registered foreign agent for a foreign government, Israel. This is not a theory, okay? This is filing from the government, okay? They filed it. His own signature, all right? And the reason I want to open the show like this today is because one of the people on that Salem roster reposted or responded to my post. So let's go take a look at Mr. Dinesh D'Souza. Let me see if I can find it. If he's anywhere on here, let me find the post. Oh, I have it right here. Copy link. So, wife beater, drunk, foreign agent, and yeah. So anyways, all right, this person, Dinesh D'Souza, I don't know his history. So he posted under my post, you can see. Just for accuracy, you might want to remove my name from your list. I started a new weekly show this year. This is not part of Salem. I have no current projects that are associated with Salem. Okay. Dinesh, I appreciate you engaging directly. I want to respond to you on stream. I think I made a post. Let's look at some of the comments. But to clarify, you're still a Jewish shill. So only the last 5 years, but not all the last 3 months you were working for a foreign agent pushing propaganda. That's right. You're a Christian who agrees with this willingly because you're so spiritually connected to an atheist movement called Zionism. What is this? All right. But the last 5 years you did, correct? So leave all the other names in your fraud media world, right? Also, just this year, 2026, 3 months in. So in other words, dead to rights for the previous years. Go ahead. Adjust your glasses to feign intellectual power as you pretend, again, not to know you've been outed. Can you please explain how the shekels and scripts flow through Salem to each show? We can count you out after you've disclosed any relevant information publicly. Ooh. I haven't read through these. People are not happy. Current, you just confirmed it is accurate. Oh, nice. Yeah, it's accurate. Dinesh, my man, I gotta say, you are correct. We started a new show. Maybe we could show your show. Let's see. Where is your show, bro? Dinesh D'Souza. You have your own show. Let's see. Where is it at? Is it on here? When did this start? A month ago, 2 weeks ago, videos, 7.7K views. Oh, you have your own show. So is this part of the network? Let's see. How do we, let's see, DineshD'Souza.com. Okay, so you do have this account. Yeah. Where is it? You don't post any leaks? You don't want people to know where you're at, bro, or what? What's up? I was trying to find if there's a new one, but I mean, if you got 7,000 videos, I don't know how we're gonna. Dinesh D'Souza new show podcast. Is this it? Oh, I guess it's just part of whatever. I don't know why I'm wasting time with you, bro. You just silently leave like you're a good guy or something. Is that what it is? However, the post you are responding to documents. I'll tell you what. You're correct, I guess. If that's fine, you can whatever. I mean, is what it is. I'm happy that you did, but let me just read the post that I responded to you with. Actually, how about this? And I didn't want to give him any. I'm not here to boost his content. So I actually just posted it myself. So I said, this investigation is trending on X because Americans are sick of being lied to by a conservative media machine running on a foreign government's payroll. And the cracks are already showing. Dinesh D'Souza responded personally this morning to distance himself. He says, started a new show this year that is not part of Salem. Cool. Good for you. But the fair filing went public in September of 2025. You were on Salem for months after that. You didn't say a word. You didn't warn your audience. You didn't disclose a thing. Then you quietly started your own show and slipped out the back door. I left is not the same as I didn't know. So which is it, Dinesh? Did you not know your network's CSO was a registered foreign agent for Israel? Or did you know and leave without telling a single person who trusted you? Because those are very different things, bro. And your audience deserves an answer, not an exit strategy. Why did you really leave Salem? Now, here are the questions every Salem host needs to answer publicly on the record. Did you know that Brad Parscale was simultaneously your network's chief strategy officer and a DOJ-registered foreign agent for Israel? Did Salem Media Group ever man, for a media group, you're not doing very well, bro. 6,000? Jesus. Did Salem Media Group ever disclose the Clock Tower X relationship to its hosts? Did Clock Tower X, this is one of the most important parts. Did Clock Tower X take $999,000 from TPUSA subsidiary America's Turning Point under a different name, Clock Tower LLC, for research, then shut its doors? Because America's Turning Point paid Clock Tower LLC $999,821. I think it was in 2018 or 2020. I forget which year. But then they took this money in. There was it's on a Form 990 when I was doing the investigation on TPUSA. And this just happened to correlate for me because I saw the name and I'd been looking for this Clock Tower LLC. And I'm like, what is this? Clock Tower LLC. What's interesting is that not long after they closed their doors, Clock Tower LLC, after taking in almost $1 million, like $20 short of $1 million, a new Clock Tower company appears with Trump's former campaign manager and a longtime associate of Charlie Kirk at the helm. So Brad Parscale opened up Clock Tower X LLC out of Ohio. Same name with an X after it. Different state, different filing. It looks to me like a rebrand designed to bury the paper trail. That $999K needs to be explained. TPUSA hasn't explained it. I've made multiple videos and content about it. Did foreign government messaging, talking points, or content directives ever reach you through Salem's editorial pipeline? These are questions for that specifically. I mean, how would they even know if they're being given media talking points? How would they know that a foreign agent isn't delivering these talking points? Because the chief strategy officer, Brad Parscale, is operating that company, Salem Media Group. And as we saw before, and we looked at what the actual job title is and the description for a CSO, it would be very easy for that position to feed propaganda to the American conservatives because it is his job. He owns a company that does that. Twisting and turning, the manipulation of AI and, information that comes to and through the podcasting world of the likes of Josh Hammer, the Charlie Kirk Show, which plummeted in ratings. Don't you think that maybe every one of you guys should reconsider your relationship with this company? Why don't you just do your own show? I make a fine living and I barely got 20,000 followers. Well, I mean, I have my own business too, multiple businesses, but right now they're startups. I make most of my money on YouTube and X. So I think it's pretty obvious that you're connecting yourself. Well, you know what? Actually, I think that Brandon Tatum, he doesn't mind it so much. He took money from AIPAC is what I was told, what I read. So basically, he is a top 10 Christian Zionist, Brandon Tatum, Officer Tatum. He also has a video on IMDb, the Officer Tatum. I challenged Prime Minister Netanyahu with hard questions about the Israel-Gaza war. Ooh, did you really? Is that right? Okay. All right, bro. Yeah. So they're all in on it, bro. Laura Trump's in on it. They're all in on it, man. Let me see who we can look at right here. Oh, I mean, I've got a lot of stuff to talk about. We need to keep it moving. But yeah, just so you know, the propaganda machine is it's full throttled. All right. Again, what's going on? They're buying out our government. They're buying out our media. They're taking over pretty much every aspect of the American free life, free market. I did some math. Okay. This is the math. People always say, how could you say, actually, I'll just play it. Let me see. I have a clip here. Let me play it. Is it right here? Sean Hannity broadcast also on Salem Media. You want to see something? Check this out. So this guy right here, not Adam, but
my answer, people that said
this guy right
5
here.
million.
He's a broadcaster on Salem's on Salem. Is Sean Hannity broadcasting on Salem Media? I think he does, right? They got them all, man. Yeah, Sean Hannity, a nationally syndicated radio show, has historically aired on several Salem Media Group stations, particularly after he signed contracts in 2014 to broadcast on these stations. Well, let's just name them. WIND Chicago, WDTK Detroit, and KSKY Dallas. While his show is syndicated by Premier Networks, he has been a consistent Salem stations. Relationship with Salem, Hannity has been a staple on specific Salem media stations since early 2014. So let's see what this man has to say. I'm going to play this clip from the PBD show, which I know all of you love. I know you all love the PBD podcast. I actually kind of like it. I think there's good content there. But it's also important to watch the stuff that they are... you got to watch the other people that are talking, opposing your position. I think that there is good content there. I think there's bad content, bad takes, good takes. I watch a lot of stuff, man. I watch the White House News Channel.
Million Americans around that of our population. So extrapolate out their population versus ours. Let me ask you this specific question, because this infuriates me. We've been witnessing the rise of anti-Semitism worldwide. We see it in the halls of Congress. We see it on college campuses. We see it in the podcast space. And it's loud, and it gets louder. Here's my question.
Remember, he is an avid Salem Media Network guest. And he signed contracts with working with the same stations that Salem Media works with. He's already just... Patrick Bet-David is not on this show, so Sean Hannity's in the spotlight today.
Question for anybody that is angry. For example, all these people that were protesting, Gaza and what happens, to the people in Gaza. Excuse me, they're the ones that voted in Hamas in the first place.
Yep.
But here's my point. Israel has a population of under 10 million people. What do we have? 365 million Americans around that of our population. So extrapolate out their population versus ours. Compare it to October 7th. That's the equivalent of over 40,000 dead Americans in a day. For all those people that said, oh, Israel shouldn't fight back, what would you want America?
Did he just say that? I heard this talking point somewhere else. Did he just say that? Hold on. Let me run this back.
For all those strap up 65 million Americans around what happens, to the people in Gaza. Excuse me, they're the ones that voted in Hamas in the first place.
Yep.
But here's my point. Israel has a population of under 10 million people. What do we have? 365 million Americans around that of our population. So extrapolate out their population versus ours. Compare it to October 7th. That's the equivalent of over 40,000 dead Americans in a day. For all those people that said, oh, Israel shouldn't fight back, what would you want America to do if America had the equivalent of 40,000 dead Americans? My answer, obliterate the living daylights out of them, destroy them. And Israel goes to do it, and then anti-Semitism rises. Explain that.
I can explain it. You keep broadening the scope of anti-Semitism. Every time you add a layer of expanding the scope of what anti-Semitism is, that's how it rises, because you keep adding shit to the list. And that's very obvious.
Well, anti-Semitism is not a new thing. I'm Jewish. We've been dealing
Not
with
like
forever,
this.
but
This
not
is
like
bad.
this, of course. So the great Thomas Sowell.
Again, like the inability to think critically or to just think at all is mind-boggling to me with millions of subscribers. This has 333,000 views. 333, ironically.
Sowell had the quote, you know, what's your cure for anti-Semitism? He had this interview and he goes, yeah, that's pretty simple. Lose, fail. You know, because here's the reality. Losers hate winners. In any capacity. Why do people all around the world hate America? Because we're winners, baby. Why do the Middle Eastern countries, not the Gulf states, you see UAE defending, you see Bahrain defending Israel and America. Why do the terrorists around them? Is because they're losers. They've been praying to, in my opinion, a false prophet, no offense.
Wow. In my opinion, a false prophet, no offense. Bro, no wonder everyone hates you, man. I don't. I mean, I don't hate you, bro. I met you. But you don't think, man. Again, back to my critical thinking. And did you catch that also, Adam? He almost completes his sentence. He says, why do they have all this money? They run the what? And then he stops and he catches himself. And what replaces it is losers hate winners. That framing, losers hate winners, is supposed to erase $318 billion in foreign aid, $90 billion in German reparations, $9 million in fair contracts in one sentence. I did some research, like I said. So in 1948, the Jewish population of Israel was about 670,000, and it grew year over year. Now they're at 9.3 million. Now that was 2024. But it's not just like people say it's, 300 billion or whatever with inflation. But you have to also account for all the money that was given from other places. You have $653 million from 49 to 59, food loans, $835 million in the 60s. France was main arms supplier, 16 billion post Yom Kippur, war surge, military aid converted to grants, 28 billion, Soviet Jewish immigration. Look, I don't have anything against Jews, not at all. This is about Israel. So to date, the United States has provided Israel 174 billion in current non-inflation adjusted dollars in bilateral assistance and missile defense funding. Adjusting for inflation is 317 billion. Germany comes in and gives 82 billion euros as of 2022. You have philanthropic, billions of dollars in philanthropy. So if we add it all together, you have almost $1 trillion. So if you take 9.3 million people and then you divide it by $660 billion, that's $71,000 per person. So then it says, here's where you tighten the noose. 7.2 million on the Jewish population. I don't know why that matters really. I don't think that, because I was looking, I don't think that it's a secular state, not a religious state. So it doesn't matter if they're Jewish or not. But it's saying 91,000 per Jewish Israeli, per family of four, $366,000 in externally sourced capital flowing into a nation that has existed for only 77 years. This is cash money. And that is the conservative number. It excludes weapons transfers, U.S. loan guarantees. In addition to financial military aid, the U.S. provides large-scale political support. Cannot put a dollar value on that. Yeah. So anyways, I figured we could discuss more. So let's keep going.
And they've been saying, when are you going to bring me the success that I want in life? When are you going to bring me everything that I've been praying for? Look at Israel. They've been around for how long? 75 years. Why do they have all this money? They run the rule. Of course, what's going on. So losers hate.
How do they have all this money? We gave it to them. Not just us. It was doubled from other countries. That's how it was given to them.
Doesn't that piss you off, what he just said? Because people do believe that.
It terribly
How
pisses
can you
me
not-
off. I mean, you have people out there that say, oh, Israel's lobbying and manipulating, and AIPAC has, lobbyists assigned to every senator. Well, so does the pharmaceutical industry, and I think they're probably funded better than AIPAC. I look at it and
That's your excuse? So you think that that's a fine excuse to just say that a pharmaceutical lobby is there, so fuck it. Let's just let foreign agents just take over our political system, our media apparatus. That's totally fine. That's fine. Fuck it. Tom, I feel like you could probably start your own show so you don't have to sit there and really sell your soul, man. You're selling your soul, dog.
I see this and I'm stunned and I'm pissed off when I see the students, just walking across campus and being harassed, and these, protests that were going on against them that were, you talk about the liberalism on college campus. Oh, we don't want racism. We don't want racism. And then you basically, you act as racist yourself against these students who are walking out there, and it infuriates me. And when you had the three schools that were in the hearing, Harvard, Columbia,
MIT, I believe.
MIT, and they're all there. What are you doing about it? They wouldn't say it. They wouldn't say it. They wouldn't see anti-Semitism. They wouldn't answer the question. And I think 2 of the 3 presidents lost their job, and one of them was like reassigned or something. She went back to run the law school. And I look at that and I'm like, are we out of our mind? Are we literally out of our mind? Regardless of what you feel about Israel, whether they are or aren't, lobbying in this, just set that aside for a second and look at the people around the world and look what's going on.
I don't think anybody should be targeted at all. There should be look, but this is a free country. We have the right to say whatever we want. If you want to be a racist, be a racist. I don't care. Nobody should care. This is a free country. If feelings are hurt, who cares, man? You know how much shit I dealt with? I'm a Persian Cuban, all right? Iranian Cuban. I grew up in Memphis, Tennessee. I got called a sand nigger every day. I got beat up all the time. So what? I went to high school, same shit. College, community college, same shit. Baseball, same shit. Soccer, same shit. Basketball, same shit. So all of a sudden, we're just going to cater to one specific group. Definitely not the Muslims, definitely not the blacks anymore. Nobody cares about them. Nobody cares about the trans anymore, the gays. Like, they're just like free reign. Everyone's calling people fags and gay and all this shit. Nobody cares anymore, huh? It's only them, only this demographic. Why? Why take away political community funding unless you sign a document on behalf of your county? If you want hurricane relief, you'd have to sign documents saying that you would never participate on behalf of talking bad against Israel. Why is that? I'm very curious on why that is. Speaking of the media being taken over, remember this?
It's official. Trump just signed an executive order facilitating the sale of TikTok, America's most popular social media app, now valued at $14 billion. But sold to who exactly?
With this executive order, you will be effectively bringing into effect the agreement that will save TikTok and ensure that it can operate safely and securely.
So this is interesting because I had a very good talk with President Xi. A lot of respect for him. Hopefully he has a lot of respect for me too. And we talked about TikTok and other things, but we talked about TikTok and he gave us the go ahead. It's run by American investors and American companies. Great ones, great investors.
Great American companies. Okay, let's see the details here. This is straight from the executive order. Quote, it will be majority owned by U.S. investors, operated in the U.S. by a board of directors with national security and cybersecurity credentials, and subject to strict rules to protect Americans' data and our national security. ByteDance will hold less than 20% of the stock as required by law. choose only one director of the 7-seat board, and be excluded from the company's security committee. Oracle, one of the nation's leading technology companies, will act as TikTok's security provider and independently monitor and assure the safety of all operations in the US. Oracle. You mean the CIA cutout? That Oracle? More on them in a second. But first, let's go back to Trump and JD Vance.
JD was very much involved and in charge of it. And maybe I'll have you say a few words about the deal. He would report back, and the points of the deal, I think, are great for our country. So, JD, do you want to give it a little talk, please?
Yes, sir. Yeah. So thank you, sir, for your leadership and for your help.
I don't need to show this whole thing. Look, they're buying out TikTok. They've already done it. We've already seen, there were posts that you couldn't even type the word Epstein in there. They're kicking people off. They're banning accounts for talking about anything related to Israel in a negative light. The reason why people say, is the government and is our media taken over by Israel, is because we're watching it happen. We're watching it happen. Paramount, these deals going through, Oracle. Now you've got the tech guys inside the White House working with an AI agenda and doing all of these things. I got to tell you, man, it's not looking good for us. And the thing is, yesterday we covered a really nice long live stream. And I want to show you something, because I don't know if I should go there right now. I mean, we could. But yeah, I mean, essentially, they're using Christians and the Zionist agenda to send propaganda through our church. Okay, if you go to church, you're at risk of being geofenced and then being fed AI propaganda when you use your AI system. Not just ads as well. Let's see what Officer Tatum has to say about Israel. Let's take a look here. Because remember, he is, let's just go to his page and see what he's got. Anything worth watching. Let's just type in the word Israel. What support Israel really means. A minute 53.
What are you talking about? What are y'all talking about?
We are commanded as Christians to support the government of Israel?
We are commanded to support Israel. And
what does that mean, Israel?
We're told those who bless Israel will be blessed.
But what, hold on, define Israel. This is important. Are you kidding? This is a majority Christian country.
Define Israel? Do you not know what Israel is?
Is that the current borders, the current leadership? He's talking about the political entity called Israel? Is the nation God's referring to in Genesis, is that the same as the country run by Benjamin Netanyahu right now?
Yes.
When we talk about blessing Israel, the government structure is a structure that has been put into place, and the people of Israel have voted for Benjamin Netanyahu. Not everybody. And not everybody agreed with the Roman rule back when Jesus was alive. Not everybody agreed with the structure of government, even when you go all the way back to biblical leaders. It has not always been perfected, but you should obey the laws of the land. You should obey those who are in authority, and the people will outlast Benjamin Netanyahu. The land is there forever. So these are the things that I think Ted Cruz should have been saying, but I feel like he was caught off guard and he's all flustered. But it's not about supporting the government structure of Israel today, currently. There will be someone that come and replace Benjamin Netanyahu at some point. There's also a religious structure.
Yeah, he's also he's like charged with war crimes. So there's that. You know, he's trying to hold power as long as possible. No wonder we have these wars that they're constantly in.
Structure that's within Israel,
dragging us into it.
That is not necessarily the government structure. The people who are rabbis, the people who are Orthodox Jews, that all they do is read the Torah, interpret the Torah. I mean, different things like that. That's beyond the government structure. Not every Israeli in Israel is a Jew. But
I'm glad, you know what? I'm glad that he mentioned it. I'm glad he mentioned this. I'm glad he mentioned these rabbis. We're gonna take a nice look at something because you need to see this. Okay, so the Mishnah is the biblical law, because the Judaic law, Judaism is driven and foundationalized with law. All right, that's why you see a lot of Jewish lawyers. And in their Mishnah, this is one of their most important Well, this is one of their parts of their documentation inside the Mishnah. And I'll just kind of read this. So the Mishnah we are about to consider continues in its efforts to determine which women are considered virgins for the purposes of the ketubah, and which are treated as non-virgins. If a grown-up man has had intercourse with a little girl less than 3 years old, or if a young boy less than 9 years old has had intercourse with a grown woman, or if a woman has been injured by a stick and as a result her hymen has been ruptured, in each of these cases, so they're determining like how this is going to play out for those individuals. Okay, in each of these cases, the woman is entitled to a ketubah of 200 denarim when she marries. A girl who engaged in intercourse when she was less than the age of 3 is still considered a virgin, for her hymen will grow back. Okay? Look at this. Again, a woman who engaged in intercourse with a boy who is under 9 years old is still considered a virgin, for intercourse with a boy of that age is not considered a significant sexual act. And a woman whose hymen was ruptured as a result of an accident is still what kind of accident? What is an accident? How does a woman get ruptured by an accident? For she did not lose her virginity through sexual intercourse. These are the words of rabbi. So your rabbis are just, so what's interesting about this in particular is that they don't care about the baby, the 3-year-old girl that has been assaulted by a man. It even says little girl here. Okay. Less than 3 years old. She's still considered a virgin. And so she gets money. She gets denarum. So they're not concerned about the well-being. They're not talking about putting the man in jail. They're talking about the contract, the financial contract of the girl when she becomes a woman, because her hymen will grow back. That's what you're defending, Officer Tatum. That is what you're defending. Sick, demented bastards. This is their Mishnah. The Mishnah is in every synagogue. Let that sink in, bro.
The protection is that there should be God's people who are the Jewish people who are descendants from Abraham that have access to and have freedom in a land that was promised to them. That's the simple.
That's how you know that people don't understand the Bible, bro. He's probably never even read it. He doesn't understand it. It's so wild to me, man. This whole thing is so crazy that they don't pay attention. And then this is why Bradley Parscale is beating his wife and drinking himself and wants to take himself out, because you're defending or you're taking money on behalf of a foreign agent, and then the population happens to have these laws around little girls and little boys. It's disgusting, bro. And now that you know that he's working, when was this? It was 9 months ago. September, October, November, December, January. So I don't know. Salem Media maybe not have been there yet. But either way, he's a perfect candidate. He's just one, you know. I've got a few other videos we can definitely check out. You need to understand that our let me have this thing I'm looking for. Right here. So let's go to this time frame right here.
This is what they had to say. Take a listen.
Mr. Johnson, Mr. Trump, Ms. Trump, I'd like to ask about your father's relationship with Israel. He's taken over $230 million from pro-Israel groups. During the summer against Iran, even though he advised against it, Israel still attacked Iran and the U.S. still bombed on behalf of Israel. Your father's frustrations with Netanyahu have been made clear when he cursed on national TV over the situation. Israel has not been a great ally to the U.S. all the way since 1960 when they bombed the USS Liberty. Israel is a nation where Christians are constantly under attack in both Gaza and the West Bank. We talk about America first and defending Christians, but how can we do this if we align ourselves with a nation that does not do that itself?
So a young conservative asking Lara Trump, you've got Eric Trump there, you've got Tommy Tuberville. Why do we support Israel when they did that to the USS Liberty? Why do we support Israel when they persecute Christians in Gaza and the West Bank? And he cites $230 million of Trump receiving that from pro-Israel groups. This is a TPUSA event. And this is the same TPUSA where I've done the 990 forensics and documented on my website, on my YouTube channel. The same organization, Heritage Foundation's Kevin Roberts admitted collaborating with On Camera, which is also a Zionist propaganda organization for conservative political purposes. A young conservative stood up inside the machine itself and asked the machine to explain itself. Let's watch what happens next.
Good, great question. Finally.
There's no question my father's had frustration. In fact, I think he's had frustration throughout the whole conflict with both sides. At the same time, make no mistake, you have a nation that is chanting death to America every single day on the streets of Tehran. You have a nation that will develop a nuclear weapon, and you have a nation that will use that nuclear weapon against the Western way of life. There's no question about it. You have a nation that will use proxies around the world, whether it's Yemen, whether it's a lot of other ones, to inflict serious harm on the station, and they don't hide it. They don't hide it. In fact, it's really interesting. About a year ago, maybe a little over a year ago, they put out, the Ayatollah in Iran put out an emoji, a little short video clip of a drone hovering over my father's head as he played golf. This was literally posted on the Ayatollah's, Twitter page, following my father around a golf course with a crosshair right on top of him, as if they wanted to assassinate him and as if they wanted to hurt him. Guys, Iran wanted to destroy our way of life.
Okay, let's just stop right there. I will play the Cole clip, don't worry. First off, I just want to say to that young man, thank you for just directly asking the question. Of course, the Trumps just couldn't respond directly. It's exactly what we've heard before. Iran does this, Iran does that, Iran chants death to America. That's all we hear. Iran, over and over and over again. This is the thing. They not once in any of their responses by Lara and Eric are you going to hear them directly respond back regarding the USS Liberty. That's just a no-go. You're not going to hear a politician respond back to it. I'm glad he asked the question anyways, because
I'll just tell you, he was asked these specific questions: the USS Liberty, the Christian persecution, and $230 million in pro-Israel money to his father, Israel attacking Iran against Trump's own advice. That was back in November. All right. And Eric Trump answered none of them. He answered none of them, not one. Every single word out of his mouth was Iran. Iran chants death to America. Iran will build a nuclear weapon. Iran posted a drone crosshair over his father's head on the Ayatollah's Twitter page. So what? Donald Trump posted Barack Obama and whoever else, or JD Vance, whoever they did it with, police videos and all this. He does all the same stuff. Not so what? I don't want that happening, and I don't want anything like that to happen to our president. But these are just dodging the question. That's it. This is not an accident, okay? That is not a coincidence. These are trained deflections, and it has a name. It's called a pivot. You are asked about X and you pivot to Y, and you never come back to X. Every political handler teaches it. Every media trainer drills it. This is a strategy. So the specific pivot they chose is Iran is evil and they want to kill us. It's not random either. That is the exact emotional framework that is described in the Clock Tower X FARA filings. AI-driven pro-Israel messaging designed to generate emotional deflection and justification for the Iran war itself. 50 million digital impressions a month. Don't forget. Here's one. Eric Trump just delivered the FARA contracts content on stage at a TPUSA event. Doesn't answer any of the questions. He didn't answer the Christian persecution question. He didn't answer or acknowledge the $250 million. He said nothing about them acting against his father's advice. He talked about Iran for 2 minutes and then just stopped talking. The machine that trained that response is a $9 million DOJ filing. And that is not my opinion. It's in the filing. Thanks for the $50, bro. Speak the truth. Here's something to try to offset. I appreciate you, man. Thank you. That means a lot. You know that. Thank you. And well, I mean, I got to say, when it comes to, you know, you said something important, right? Demonetize. They're going to demonetize. You're probably right. You know what that tells me, though? That tells me we hit something real. You don't demonetize boring content. You don't demonetize opinion. You demonetize receipts. You demonetize reality. You demonetize things you don't want people to hear. The police report I said on Bradley Parscale is public. All the filings are public. All the stuff that I read is from biblical text. It's public. It's real. It's in their biblical text. Every single thing that I show you is primary sourced. It's available on my website as well, americansfortransparency.org. Anybody with an internet connection in America can look it up. If they pull the monetization, we keep going. That's what the Patreon is for as well. Patreon.com/originaldankster. But we're going to be migrating over to a new site soon that is independently owned and operated for creators by creators. So I appreciate you, man. You're the operation. They're coming after you. I'm the one here. They're trying to stop us. But we're just getting warmed up here. But I'm also getting tired. I've been doing so much work today. We got to keep it moving on this. There's a couple of things here, I think, in this clip I wanted to talk about. Let me see. I have a couple others. I think it's, let me see here. I think that's it. Does he cover anything else? Oh, he's just talking the whole time. I have some other things. Let me take a look here. Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat how you're feeling about this social media alignment to control the narrative. And did you know that all the people that I named and plenty others, did you know that they are being operated by a foreign agent, Bradley Parscale? It really is just Bradley Parscale in that little group right there, but it's part of a grander operation, right? It's part of this whole thing. There's a whole system here, right? So, I mean, when you look at the whole entire system, this is one thing that you have to realize is it's all working cohesively together, right? They all have a specific thing. If you go to the site, you can click on them, you can interact with Agent America, you can ask all the questions you want. It's all trained on the documents, all the FARA docs and all that stuff. There's a lot here in this live stream. I was like, dang, bro, I want to cover the whole live stream. You know what's funny is Adam starts a prayer, starts the show with a prayer, which I think is kind of crazy.
And why did they feel this need to worship something?
Believe it or not, PBD talked to me probably 2 years ago, and he goes, listen, the one thing I want for you is to get closer to God. And I'm not the most holistic guy or philosophical guy, but I being anchored
Good for him, actually. I'm happy that he did.
to the man upstairs will never let you down.
So give it to us.
Dear Lord, thank you for having us here. Thank you for having a great fill-in guest for us today. Thank you for having my friend Vincent and Thomas here while we have PBD being out of the office today. But thank you for looking over us. Thank you for looking over America. Thank you for looking over the free world. And in your name we pray.
Amen.
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 Well done.
That's my first on
Let's
live
go.
prayer.
Let's go. He heard you.
So
Fantastic. I
thank
love
you
it.
for that.
How can anyone, and I know I'm getting off track, but I am kind of
Racism in any form.
So this is the thing is now what's happening with the Patriot here is he's getting stuck in between all of this stuff.
and what you're suggesting. What culture teaches their children to strap on bombs and that if you go kill innocent men, women, and children, that Allah's going to reward you with 72 virgins?
Let me ask you a question. What religion teaches their children that this is okay? That it's okay because they're going to grow back their hymen? What religion teaches that? Because that one is also very worrisome. I'd be very concerned. And these are the people that are trying to basically force propaganda down our throats through a proven foreign agent registration, full-blown operation, documented. Okay, so I don't know. I mean, what are you defending here, bro? What are you trying to say?
I'm sorry. I'm not putting a bomb on my kids and saying, go kill innocent men, women, and children.
Yes, I understand that. Let's put that to the side. If you're not able to criticize the government, which, by the way, Sean, we're sitting here criticizing the government. I do it all the time. I left the military because of our actions post 9/11. I think it's when you can't criticize the government of Israel, that's when people get pissed off, and then they just lump all that hate, Sean, into it's the Jews. Okay, I think people should be allowed to be like, hey, you know what? Israel did that, and Israel should come clean and be like, yeah, we did it. Like you mentioned Israel earlier, Gaza, 70,000 people dead, 20,000 children, women and children. You should at least be like, okay, it was bad, but it's just nope. Hamas is everywhere. If you look at a photo right now of Gaza, it is flat. There is nothing. There is nothing because we were told Hamas.
So yeah, I mean, look, we all know the truth. All right, we all know the truth. What do we got? Oh yeah, Jank is pissed. Let's save that. Let's save that. I need to open this folder real quick.
You should be paying attention to is the change in American authority and the level of power our authorities domestically here in the U.S. feel like they can assume, because that always expands during war. Wartime leaders become authoritarian, every single one of them. And authorities below the executive also become authoritarian. Did you know that in 1942, when Franklin Roosevelt issued his famous executive order to intern about 120,000 Japanese Americans, mostly in the West, Oregon, Washington, California, in concentration camps, did you know the most interesting fact of that decision is often omitted from it? The overwhelming majority of them were American citizens, actual citizens or legal residents, but 2/3 were American citizens with full citizenship who'd been convicted of no crime, hadn't even been charged with a crime, but they were thrown into concentration camps for 3 years and lost their property. And there was some effort in the 80s to be like, oh, we're so sorry. And also, who really cares? Imperial Japan was bad, but these people weren't actually subjects of Imperial Japan. They were American citizens. And they were thrown into concentration camps with their families and no one really said anything? I mean, it's complicated. It's complicated. That's not complicated, actually. That's totally wrong. You can't treat American citizens that way if you're the U.S. government, ever. And yet, Roosevelt was able to do it because it was 1942 and the war wasn't looking good. And that's the other thing to remember.
I mean, Tucker really, he opens up with some of the single most important things that should be talked about. Really, the single most important sentence: wartime leaders become authoritarian. Every single one of them, he says, right? Let me see. Let's run it back. I think that's what he says.
The thing that you should be paying attention to is the change in American authority and the level of power our authorities domestically here in the U.S. feel like they can assume, because that always expands during war. Wartime leaders become authoritarian, every single one of them. Every single one of them.
I need you to sit with that, man. It's true. Seems like it's happening right in front of our eyes. Because we are currently in a war with Iran. The majority of Americans did not vote for that. Most Americans, majority. We didn't ask for this. We wanted it to stop. Charlie Kirk himself pleaded with Joe Kent. Joe Kent's out speaking about it. Is there an operation on behalf of Joe Kent? We don't know. I guess we'll find out. Whitney Webb raised flags. Fine. But it doesn't take away the fact that Joe Kent did all of the things he did. And he's speaking out. But always keep your head on a swivel. But the thing is, we don't support this war. And the people who push for that war are the same people broadcasting on a network. Same people supporting the war are broadcasting on Bradley Parscale's network. Salem Media. I'm going to keep coming back to that because this is what this stream is about. The CSO is a $9 million registered foreign agent for the government that wanted the war in the first place. We literally just spent the last hour documenting that, talking about it. Salem Media, Brad Parscale, same pipeline, pushing this narrative and now benefiting from the war itself and from the narrative that was produced. And Tucker is telling you that the domestic consequence of that war is the expansion of government power over your life. Not Iran's life, your life. Your speech, your movement, your rights, the war isn't just overseas. The war comes home. It always does. And the people who sold you the war are the same people who will sell you the surveillance, the censorship, and the draft that comes with it. It's just, yeah.
That can happen. And it may be starting to happen. Speaking for myself, I've been threatened with more FBI investigations in the last month than during the entire Biden administration. So maybe that's an indicator of something. 2 more than during the entire Biden administration, which I criticized every single day for its duration. So there's that. But here's one pretty specific example, a piece of tape that should tell you what to be on guard against. And that's at the local level, not at the level of federal law enforcement, but like your local sheriff, assuming powers that no man short of God possesses, and certainly no one in the United States possesses. In flat, obvious contradiction to our founding documents, to the Bill of Rights, this Sheriff Bouchard from Michigan, has decided that he's going to arrest and imprison people who make memes mocking him. This is real from last Friday. Watch this.
I give you this by way of example. Some pond scum felt empowered and emboldened enough to put this picture of me up to try to threaten and intimidate me, which of course he didn't do because I signed up for this. And by the way, the person that did this said a bunch of terrible things.
Oh my goodness.
Not just against me, but against
Pobrecito. I'm so sorry.
A lot of groups and individuals who, by the way, was arrested today in Wisconsin. My point is this, though. If this person is emboldened and empowered enough or feels safe enough to do this for me, what does he do to a kid? What does he do to a Jewish family walking down the street?
Oh my gosh, bro. A sheriff in Michigan arrests a man in Wisconsin for making a meme. Not even a threat, not a credible plan of violence, a meme. an image on Instagram. And the sheriff's justification is what he would do to a kid. What does he do to a family walking down the street? That's the template. That's the formula, bro. You take any act of speech, any act of criticism, any act of mockery, and you connect it to either children or Jewish people just because he puts something on your forehead because of the way, obviously, your policy is. The First Amendment is starting to evaporate, you guys. That is the First Amendment evaporating before your very eyes. Suddenly, a meme becomes a crime, just like in the UK, just like in Australia. Suddenly, a county sheriff has more power than the Constitution. What does Tucker say? He doesn't look happy.
Well, he didn't do anything. He made an ugly meme. But the sheriff's not intimidated. I signed up for this. I knew the risks of the job when I became your sheriff. This guy's like some former Republican politician in the state of Michigan. I knew the risks. I signed up for this. Someone made a funny meme about you or an ugly meme about you. It's a meme. It's an image on the internet that was on Instagram, not on the battlefield. You faced no physical risk. You just admitted that. And you had the guy arrested in another state and he's in jail? How is this not leading to mass protests? Why did they not shut your sheriff's department down? Where's the Department of Justice? Where's the Civil Rights Division? Are you allowed to just arrest people who make fun of you? Oh, it's so ugly. It's anti-Semitism. Okay, well, it's racism. You're mocking the vaccine. It's all the same. These are all pretexts that we take literally because we're dumb. And no one wants to be an anti-Semite or a racist or deny science, whatever they tell you your crime is. The actual crime is always the same. It's mocking and impeding the authoritarian impulses of the people in charge. It's making fun of the sheriff, which is exactly what this criminal did. But the sheriff's okay tonight.
That's crazy, man. That is crazy. Tucker nails it. There's no legal category of hate speech. There's only speech the people in charge hate. Write that down and put it on your wall. You're gonna want to remember that. Because that sentence explains everything. I mean, explains all the stuff that we're talking about today on the show. A lot of the stuff I talk about on my channels. Why does Salem Media attack Tucker? Because he says things that the people running the operations hate. Why does the Jerusalem Post name Brandon Tatum a top 10 pro-Israel Christian? What the hell is that? Because he says things that the operations of the people that are running that operation love. The speech that serves the machine gets rewarded, and the speech that threatens the machine gets punished and investigated and arrested and labeled anti-Semitic. The same principle, different zip codes from whatever it is. It's all the machine's mechanism. It's all identical. Protect the narrative, punish the questioners. It's insane, man. It's insane.
He's going to be all right. He signed up for this. That hits the internet. Don't think he has been. Let's hope he will be. But that's exactly the kind of change that can bubble up in your country during war. And it's like some kooky sheriff.
When they do this stuff, changes and it doesn't come back. Remember what happened. Remember what has happened. Boston bombers, the 9/11 attacks, all these things that get implemented. It's temporary. It's going to go back. It's just a temporary situation. You need to understand that these changes, it is permanent. They are trying to tighten the noose. It is a permanent change, and they're trying to make their position stronger over us. The problem is they forget that the government works for us. We pay the government. The power has gotten to their heads. The president is making wartime decisions without Congress. The power has gotten to their heads. We are not in control. We are not in control right now. The government is controlling everything, and they're using it and making all the decisions with our money. With our money. That's super important to remember. We pay for this. Every single thing that's happening.
If Republican, that's the Republican? That's the free speech party guy? Really? And it's in Michigan, and who even knows, some county in Michigan. And all of a sudden you wake up and you get arrested for a meme because it's hate speech, which means it's speech the people in charge hate. And then if this goes on long enough, or if the United States are to really suffer, it gets more extreme. There are already neocons saying if there's a terror attack in the United States as blowback from the war that they pushed for, that they will make certain that people who oppose the war are arrested for the terror attack. Follow the logic chain. Oh, you can't because there isn't one. They're openly saying we will use the deaths of Americans to settle our political scores using your government law enforcement. Not so different from we will settle our ancient tribal disputes on another continent using your military. Kind of the same principle.
I mean, he's saying the neoconservative voices are already publicly stating that if there is an attack on American soil as blowback from the war that they started with our money, they will use that attack to justify arresting Americans who oppose the war. Me, Tucker, you, everybody in this chat. Follow this logic. They push for the war. The war creates blowback. The blowback creates casualties. And then they use those casualties to imprison the people who told them this was going to happen. Who said, this is a bad idea. We shouldn't do this. This is not good. We will use the deaths of Americans to settle our political scores using your government law enforcement. That is what Tucker just said. He said it out loud on camera. And he's right. Because we've seen already the infrastructure that's being built. The White House app tracks your GPS every 4.5 minutes. There's a whole nother story I gotta go on. I'm gonna go on Savvy Sab's show on Thursday, and we're gonna talk about it. The Foreign Malign Influence Center dissolved by Pam Bondi so nobody can track FARA violations already been dismantled. A $9 million, just one contract under the propaganda Hasbara machine on americansfortransparency.org. Integrating messaging into media, manipulating AI, paying influencers $7,000 a post. The same media calling anyone who questions it's a traitor, an anti-Semite, or a Fed. They're not just selling you a war, they're pre-building the prison for anyone who objects to it. And the prison isn't made of bars, man. It's not made of like metal bars or steel or whatever. It's made of labels. Anti-Semite, Jew hater, racist, foreign Asian sympathizer, domestic extremist, domestic terrorist. Those labels are the bars. That's your prison. And the FARA-funded media machine is the warden. They are in control. They are the ones that call the shots. My goodness.
God-given rights is worse. And you'll know it's bad, government law enforcement. Not so different from we will settle our ancient tribal disputes on another continent using your military. Kind of the same principle. But it's not acceptable here. If the Iran war was bad, allowing the U.S. government to arrest, persecute, investigate, spy on U.S. citizens for exercising their God-given rights is worse. And you'll know it's bad when they start talking about a draft. Now, what is a draft? Well, of course, it's the definition of tyranny. It is somehow the right of a government to take the fruit of its population, its young, fit citizens, the ones who are supposed to build the civilization, continue the country, take them and force them to risk their lives, and in some cases die, for a decision they didn't make, and in this case, they don't support at all. What percentage of 18-year-old American men support the war in Iran. Haven't seen the polling. Imagine it's quite a bit below 30%. Maybe even lower than that. And by the time
Tucker Carlson, he calls the draft the definition of tyranny. I mean, the draft is very common. It's happened in past in almost all wars, I think, except for the Iraq war. I mean, that's part of defending the country. However, we are facing a situation that none of the Americans wanted to go into. Not only that, we didn't want this war. We didn't have an imminent threat. They literally said that we started this war because Israel was going to start it. Americans didn't choose to die for this war. They didn't choose that. They don't support it, and we don't understand. For a country that is paying hundreds of millions of dollars to propagandize our media, our children, our internet, while the government tracks their location through their new app, while apps like Superfeed sending conservative media, conservative American data over the cloud to be worked on by Ukrainian devs, likely being hacked by Russian cybersecurity intelligence officers. And then when we push back, they want to call us anti-Semitic for asking questions. It's not service. That's not a government protecting its people. That's sacrificing on someone else's altar. We went on yesterday's stream tracing that altar, that very same altar, all the way back to ancient Baal worship. Powerful exploiting of the young, the system consuming its own. How long are we going to watch our government, our people, honor two masters, the good and the bad? How long will Americans fight wars for governments that don't represent them, funded by money that we didn't approve, promoted by media that they didn't know was compromised in their face, and enforced by laws that criminalize their objections, your objections? The man who managed Donald Trump, his 2020 campaign, was Baker acted in Fort Lauderdale in September of 2020. His wife documented with bruises. He is possibly, wants to take himself out. And now he runs as a chief strategy officer for Salem Media and filed with the Department of Justice as a registered foreign agent for the government of Israel, no less. And that was actually 8 days after Charlie Kirk died, which is interesting. I don't know if the timing matters. But this government messaging is integrated Israeli intelligence government messaging through the largest Christian conservative radio network in America, while simultaneously texting American citizens from fake organization names without the legally required foreign agent disclosure. Breaking the law. Nobody's there to oversee it because Pam Bondi, she's so great. She just took away any oversight. This is not complicated. We're starting to see something pretty dangerous. What's up, Elena? Good to see you. People think we're more advanced and sophisticated than ancient cultures, but people in power always act the same and perform the same rituals and sacrifices. History repeats if we don't learn from it. You're right. I think you were there yesterday for the show that we did, live stream. It was a great live stream. When we see and face this tyranny that's starting to happen, I never thought I would see like our government actually come out and be so against American policy from the Americans' position, from the voters' position. But what you're saying with these rituals and sacrifices is exactly what we documented yesterday, like I was saying on the stream, when we talked about The Talmud, primary sources on the screen, the tractate, Ketubot, Maimonides. We traced it through the Schofield Bible, which I have a whole nother live stream on, funded by Zionist Wall Street lawyers in 1909 to reprogram millions of hundreds of millions of Christians. I mean, you've got the pipeline. They've been doing this for over 100 years. It's time they're putting it into action. We even traced it through Hollywood, Marina Abramovich feeding celebrities human-shaped birthday cakes while calling it art. I mean, we traced it through the Eggstein files, where a bank account is literally named Ball. I mean, when are we going to get it? You've got even the Israeli newspaper reporting on Orthodox Jews practicing Baal worship on the ritual abuse of young people. Just recently. It's just a different century, different costume, same system, like you said. The powerful are exploiting the vulnerable. Children are commodified. Human beings treated as transactions, instruments in a transactional effort. And a network of institutions, media companies, think tanks, and registered foreign agents spending nearly that you never connect the dots. Elijah asked the question 3,000 years ago on Mount Carmel, how long will you waver between two masters? They're still performing the same rituals today. They're still making the same sacrifices. They just swapped out the bronze statue for a media network and the temple for a fair filing. Yeah, actually, James Lee, he made a video talking about Al-Aqsa. We were talking about that yesterday. I'll just show you a little bit of it, but basically they are trying to usher in the Antichrist, to them, the Messiah.
Is Israel blocking Catholics, Christians, and Muslims from their holiest sites in Jerusalem to protect their safety? Or is there something far darker unfolding? Perhaps a controlled demolition designed to erase centuries of shared history in order to clear the ground for a radical rewrite of the Holy Land. It was reported this morning that Israeli police officers prevented two senior Roman Catholic leaders in Jerusalem from entering the Church of the Holy Sepulchre on Palm Sunday. The Al-Aqsa Mosque, considered to be the third holiest site in Islam, which we'll talk about more in a second, has been closed since February, and they say that it's going to be closed up until at least mid-April, according to Israeli authorities. So what exactly is going on here? Israel says they've had to close off these holy sites due to the war with Iran. Others think this is probably a little bit of BS, with the Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni calling this move an offense to religious freedom. Right, they are using the war, mind you, that they started as an excuse to close off the religious sites of Christians and Muslims. Now, interestingly, the Western Wall, which is a holy site for Jews, they say it is mostly closed because of safety issues, but they are letting people in 50 at a time to pray in an enclosed area adjacent to the plaza. It's small, but there's a little bit of a subtle difference here, because for the Church of the Holy Sepulchre and Al-Aqsa, those sites are not just closed to the public, but
I don't think that it's stop Christ from returning. I don't even think they believe in that. They don't believe in Christ. They actually believe Jesus Christ, the person that was here, God's chosen son, God himself. They believe he's burning right now in boiling in a pile of shit. That's what they believe, per their documentation. Maimonides. And I'll set the stage for you with James Lee. I mean, it's they're using this budget, right? And they're trying to design it to keep American Christians supporting this government. All right. Now, what the government is doing to Christian holy sites in Jerusalem right now is what he's talking about. And it's the single most sacred site, the secret day, actually. It was yesterday, I think this happened. He posted this 19 hours ago. And there was a lot of conversation and stuff about this. And they are preventing senior Roman Catholic Christians or Roman Catholic cardinals to enter the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. So I don't know how to say it, sepulchre. That's the site where Christians believe Jesus was actually crucified, buried, and resurrected. So it's an important site and the most sacred ground in Christianity in general. And then an Israeli police blockade blocked the cardinals from entering it on Palm Sunday. They wanted to worship Jesus.
But they're also banning and preventing the religious leaders, such as cardinals and people like that, from entering. Whereas with the case of the Western Wall, there looks to be some limited public access. Now, Israelis claim no malintent, but some are saying otherwise.
But the basic components are, one is the creation of the nation state of Israel, which happened in 1948. And then you need to have the building of the third temple, which requires the destruction of the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is actually, which could happen during this war, given what we've seen so far. So the Israelis have closed off the Al-Aqsa Mosque, as well as other religious sites like the Church of Holy Sepulchre, to tourists these past few days. There's rumors that for the past 2 years, the Israelis have been conducting these archaeological digs under the Al-Aqsa Mosque to basically destroy the foundations of the mosque so that they can conduct a controlled demolition of the mosque and blame it on a missile strike from the Iranians. And there's actually talk among the Israelis of using this plan to ignite a war between the Arabs and the Persians. So the Al-Aqsa Mosque needs to be destroyed for the third temple.
So a couple things going on here, which is one, the belief by some Jewish and Christian evangelical fundamentalists that the Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Dome of the Rock must be destroyed because they stand on the exact site where the first and second Jewish temples once stood, and where they believe the third temple must be built in order to usher in the return of Jesus. And the second thing is the disturbing claim Professor Jang makes that these actions could already be underway, which, full disclosure, they tell us that the notion that the Al-Aqsa Mosque might be in danger is actually one of the most dangerous lies to emerge from within Palestinian society.
This is so crazy. This is so crazy because I've seen the clip of this rabbi he's going to show, but look at how hypocritic they are, man. They're just hypocrites, man.
It is considered anti-Semitic libel. Now, that sounds pretty serious. So I'm sure no Israeli leader, certainly no religious rabbi, would ever suggest such a horrific and disturbing idea, right?
We don't know. Maybe one of the missiles will hit the mosque and clear the place for the third Bet HaMikdash. That could also be a miracle. If it was up to me, the last time when they shot hundreds of missiles, I would pretend that one missile came from Iran and shoot it down. You know, then all the Arabs will go against Iran and it will be the end of the problems. You make them fight with each other, this bunch of lunatics.
Wow. I guess
it's just sickening to watch, man. Look, I started this channel because I believe that Americans deserve to know who is paying for the narratives they consume, what our money is going to. That's really behind the thesis of all the TPUSA finance stuff that I uncovered. Deserving to know the right of what our money is contributing to. That's really it. That's the whole mission. I'm not trying to tell you what to think. I'm not trying to show you who's paying for what you're being told to think. I mean, I am trying to show you that's what I'm trying to show you. But I'm not trying to tell you what to think. And I trust that you would go figure it out from there. I give as much information as I possibly can to help you try to get a kickstart onto whatever you can understand and learn about. Because I actually believe in you. That's why I'm here, not in a corny way. I believe that the average American, given the actual receipts and the documents, will arrive at hopefully the right conclusion. And I believe that a parent who finds out that their kid's school curriculum is built by a platform whose CEO served in Israeli military intelligence will ask questions. I believe that a churchgoer who finds out their phone was geofenced during service on Sunday by a foreign agent contractor would be furious. I believe that a veteran who finds out that their war that they're being asked to support was promoted through a $1 billion propaganda machine would feel betrayed. And I believe that all of those people, once they see it, can't unsee it. And at least if they turn away from it, they'll think about it in the back of their mind. And that's the hope, really. Not that some hero is coming to save us. Not that some politician is going to fix it, because that's obviously not going to happen. Not that some institution is going to suddenly develop a conscience. That is definitely not going to happen. The hope is that there are 330, 40 million Americans here, and the machine can only manage so many of them at once. And every single person who wakes up and reads the filing or sees the post that I make or watches the videos or shares it, spreads the message, is one more person that the machine loses. You're here today. That means they lost you. And they hate that. And you're not going to go back to sleep just the same way, right? You're going to wake up differently. They can target me as whatever. Doesn't matter. I don't care. But here's what I want you to do. Not for me, for your kids, for your neighbor, for the country that your grandparents built and bled for and believed in. Share the filings, share the website, read the documents, ask questions, have conversations, open spaces, open a channel, have a topic, discuss it. And when someone labels you for doing it, wear that label like it's armor. Because the labels only work if you're afraid of them. That's why I said I don't care, man. They only work if you're afraid of them. And you're not afraid anymore. I can tell. I can tell. The people, the danksters in this chat are not afraid of them. I can see it in the chat. I can see it in the replies. I can see it in the reposts, quote posts. I can see it in the 500,000 people that saw my content from yesterday who decided that a fair registration number from a foreign agent working through the very media apparatus that's targeting Tucker, of all people, working on behalf of a foreign interest, they are the ones that are actually working on behalf of the foreign interest. They are the ones. That fair registration number is more interesting than anything Netflix had to offer in the last 24 hours. I can guarantee you that. I don't guess. I come with receipts and documents. I don't speculate. I don't talk about things that I don't understand. If I do, I let you know. I source them, and I don't hope that the truth comes out. I put it out. I put it in the hands on your phone, on your screen, on your computer. I give it to you to do whatever you want with it. But I show you the machine. So pull it out with your bare hands, put it on your screen, and share it with somebody. Because this stuff's important. Your future depends on it. So that's the show. Thanks, Measure Man. I appreciate you. Boarding, but viewers want to know, I had given up a long time ago, felt fighting alone, and found DanksterIntel. And Savvy, y'all relit the flame. Hey, I appreciate you, man. Yeah, I'm excited to go on Savvy. You matter, man. You matter. You've been impactful in many different ways. In my chat, you've been impactful in me. You send me a bunch of emails. When I get a chance, I read some of them. I can't read them all. You send so much. But you bring value, man. You're valuable. You're important. You should know that. Every single one of you are important. So, like I said, pay attention. Expose the truth. And just be honest. Because guess what? The truth kills and disrupts any lie. All of the lies. It only takes one truth to destroy all the lies within that truth. So just tell the truth. There's no need to lie about anything. All right. I love you all. Thanks for being here with me today. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Be good to people, man. Don't let them trick you. All right. I'll catch you in the next one.